What do you do when the world's watching? Your team's in ruins and you've got the weight of an entire cricketing nation on your shoulders. You pull out the most brutal, majestic, unbelievable innings in the history of cricket. Of course, this is the story of Viv Richards, the Master Blaster's unreal 189 not out against England. Get ready, because this isn't just a story, it's a legendary tale of power, pride, and pure cricketing genius. The mighty West Indies were on a revenge tour after that shocking World Cup loss to India in 1983. They steamrolled Australia at home, reclaiming their spot at the top. Now, in England, they had one goal: domination. Clive Lloyd, Gordon Greenidge, Desmond Haynes, and Viv Richards. It was a squad feared around the globe. They were like the Avengers, and Viv Richards was their Thor, just with more swagger and fewer rules. But the English squad wasn't a group to mess with. They had big names: Botham, Gower, Willis, all pumped up to make life tough for the West Indies. England knew that Viv Richards was dangerous, but this wasn't just any danger. This was nuclear-level danger. One-man army. Then, disaster. In the first ODI, England's bowlers unleashed their fury. They all going for the kill, swinging, spinning, and sending stumps flying. West Indies were 11 for 2 when Viv walked out to bat. And from then, the scoreboard looked like a horror movie as wickets were falling one after another. And then, in walked Viv Richards, the legend himself, the man who defined swagger before it even had a name. Collar up, chewing gum, looking like he was out for a casual stroll. He took his place at the non-striker's end, calm and unfazed, and watched as his teammates returned to the pavilion. Haynes, Greenidge, Richardson, Gomes, Lloyd, DeJohn. The crowd's going wild, but with cool as ever, leaning on his bat, while England tears through the batting lineup like they're late for tea. By the 26th over, the situation became dire. West Indies was buried at 102 for 7. The English bowlers were celebrating. They thought it was game over. But there was one problem. It was Viv Richards. And Viv did not like losing. If you are England, this is where you start sweating. Because when Viv Richards decides it's time, well, someone's going to pay. Richards was going ballistic. He took those shaky beginnings, crushed them into dust, and went on the offensive, smacking the bowlers around as if they were practicing in his backyard. Wickets are falling left and right, and he's out there sending Botham, Willis and Miller to all corners of Old Trafford. Ballistic joins Viv, and for a while, they managed to stop the bleeding. Together, they began to slowly rebuild, nudging singles, taking quick twos, and every now and then, Richards would throw in a boundary, just to remind England of what he could do. This partnership added 59 invaluable runs, but Ballistic made it to 26 of 49 balls before he fell, leaving Viv and the score at 166 for 9. With that score, it seemed like the end. England was already celebrating, but enter Michael Holding, the last man in. England was set to close out the innings, but what they didn't know was they had just stepped into a nightmare. The king was on 96, and Holding? Well, he knew exactly what to do. Be Richards' sidekick. And what a sidekick he turned out to be. Holding played his part perfectly. Stand there, look brave, and let the master work his magic. Viv reached his century in just 112 balls. A blistering pace for the era, especially given the challenging circumstances. In a time when playing with T20-like aggression was almost unheard of, his fearless approach stood out as something extraordinary. But that wasn't the end. Oh no, he was just getting started. Viv's next 50 came off just 35 balls. The English bowlers had tried everything. They bowled short, he hooked. They pitched full, he drove. They pitched on the stumps. Well, it just disappeared into the stands. It was carnage. At one end, Holding's blocking away, staying safe. At the other end, Viv's playing the bowling attack like a grand piano. There were cricket balls flying everywhere. England's fielders were running in circles, spectators were ducking for cover. And somewhere, Ian Botham was probably rethinking his entire life. Together, Richards and Holding put together a stunning, record-breaking 106-run partnership for the final wicket. A record that still stands today. Holding faced just 27 balls for his 12 runs. And Viv, he was everywhere, smashing anything in sight. When it was all over, Richards had single-handedly carried West Indies from 102 for 7 to an unbelievable 272 for 9. He scored a colossal 189, the highest individual ODI score at the time, 21 fours, 5 sixes, at a strike rate of 111.17. The other West Indies players scored 31 runs combined in the top 8. Viv Richards alone scored 69.48% of the team's runs. And by the way, this is the highest percentage of runs scored by any player in a completed ODI innings. It was calculated. It was brilliant. It was pure Viv Richards. A chess master at work on a cricket pitch. Richards was doing 99% of the work. Holding was holding it together. And England, they'd run out of answers. Absolutely magnificent. Jim Laker commented on the live BBC coverage. When England came out to bat, it was almost like they had given up. They were all out for just 168 and they couldn't even match Viv's 189. The King Richards did not just beat them, he broke them. Richards wasn't just a batsman, he was a conqueror. He had rewritten history with that innings. England had started with confidence, but they ended with one of the most humbling defeats. In fact, there had been just 4 scores in excess of 150 in the history of the game at that point, and one of those knocks had been from Richards himself when he made an unbeaten 153 against Australia in 1979. The Times' John Woodcock drew comparisons with another great. Just as Bradman used to do, Richards spoiled the game. He turned what might otherwise have been a close match into a runaway victory. This wasn't just a match, it was Viv Richards' announcement to the world. When I'm at the crease, no target is safe, no bowler is unbreakable, no team is unbeatable. This was an innings where one man made a nation proud, an innings ahead of its time, and one that is still being talked about in the modern age of bloated strike rates, small boundaries, and bats that simply do not compare to those used in the 1980s. Whether it is the greatest ODI innings ever is up for debate. But Sir Isaac Vivian Alexander Richards proved back in 1984 that if you had to pick an all-time ODI 11, then he would be the first name on any team sheet. So guys, that's it for today's video, but don't go anywhere. If you're curious about how Clive Lloyd transformed West Indies cricket or want to dive deeper into the brilliance of Viv Richards, check out the videos popping up on your screen right now. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Until next time, keep watching this beautiful game. See you soon.